So, last time I talked about my writing progress, I said that I wanted to change my story and make every chapter third point of view, but from a different character. I realized after many days of working on that idea in my mind and actually creating the first three chapters, thanks to those first three chapters that I created, I realized a gap that existed in my characters. So I worked on filling that gap. I worked a bit in their background story again, more specifically in something called the false belief that has a great effect on their personality and how they react to situations. But after creating these first three chapters, trying to think of how to continue, how to be patient, because I would have to rewrite my whole story so far, I realized that this is not the right way to go. The reason I initially wanted to change the point of view of each chapter was because I believed that my book starts in from Irene's point of view for some chapters, and then it changes to another character because Irene is not present when something important happens that I need to document in my story and the readers need to know about. But I thought that doing it like that, the readers will become confused because after that chapter, where the first point of view change happens, the point of view keeps changing in the following chapters. I had thought that this is bad for the readers because they will feel betrayed in a way. They will initially believe that the story is about Irene, but then these other characters have their own certain things will be revealed about their goals, their intentions, and so the readers will feel betrayed that, oh, so this isn't just about Irene. That was my thought. And then I realized, after working on this for many days, that this is not the case really, because it makes sense. The thing is, when I started, after those three chapters, when it was time to rewrite specific scenes, because the first three chapters were introductions, they were introductions for each character. So they were something new that I wrote. But after this, when the time came that I had to rewrite my chapters from a different point of view, I realized that two of my main characters are together, they are in the same location for a specific part of the story, for many chapters. So it was pretty pointless to change the point of view character because, okay, they did have different motivations, they did have different intentions for the things they did, but there was no need to change the point of view. When I did change it, if I did change it, then all the element of surprise, all the twists, they would be gone. They would disappear because you would know everything already. So now what I am doing actually is rereading the chapters that I've read so far and I am keeping notes. I have a small paper, many small papers that write exposition, and I write in each chapter what is revealed to the readers and what is revealed to the characters. Because there are some things about the world building that the readers do not know, but the characters know. But there are also parts of the world building because my story takes place in two different parts of the world. One is the state, where there are schools, there is electricity. It's like the world that we know, with the difference that magic is believed to be a real thing and it's prohibited from the law. It's punishable by death. There are a specific type of police that they guard the borders that the state has with the dark cities. And the dark cities is the other part of the world where there is no electricity, there are no schools, crime is insane there, the insane things happen, it's horrible. And actually, this whole place, there is constant darkness in the dark cities, which is the result of a spell. Of course, magic in the dark cities is differently viewed compared to the state. People in the dark cities have different opinions about magic. And the dark cities are divided in different cities and they are controlled by a gang. Two different parts of the world. Irene was in the state and something happens and she is transferred against her will in the dark cities. So there are parts about the world in the dark cities, about the world building of that place in my book that Irene doesn't know. But the other characters that live in the dark cities and will play a major role in the story know. So in my exposition, I write what the readers learn, what Irene learns, and what the other characters learn in each chapter. And that's very important to do. If I skip mentioning an important information in a specific chapter, and then in the future chapters, I write as if the readers already know this information, or Irene or the other characters know this information, then it will be very bad writing, right? So, this is what I'm doing right now. I am keeping notes of things that I should have kept from the beginning. And I also write down changes that need to happen. Since I developed a little more my characters with the false belief, the reactions to certain situations would be very different compared to what I had initially written. So I am just writing down change this and this. And actually, plot related things have also changed. I have major changes and corrections. So in major changes, I write all the plot related facts that need to change in the second draft. And in the corrections, I write down small things like this character did not carry this specific item in this chapter, or something like that. Small things that need to change because they don't really make sense or they should not yet be revealed. It's important to note that some of the changes that have happened in my story are so crucial that change many things. For example, one change that happened is that Leo, one of the main characters, cannot listen to the voice of Mr. Tim. Mr. Tim is a magical cat. He is the familiar of Irene. And when I had first written the story, the chapters until the chapter where I am at right now, I Leo could listen to the cat because of a specific reason relating to the distant past that I am not going to reveal to you. But it's not realistic for this to happen, and it doesn't really help the plot in any way. So I changed it, and now Leo cannot listen to Mr. Tim's voice. Mr. Tim talks telepathically to Irene, and that's a very big change because something that Mr. Tim had said that Leo heard, and then Leo made the plan for his future moves, it's no longer there. So I have to write down any changes that happen to the plot because of that. Finally, I remind myself, and I remind you as well, that the reason I am going through this process, the reason I am rereading my chapters, is not because of the false belief although it is one reason. But the main reason is not even to write the exposition notes, which are important. The main reason I do this is because when I was writing my story, I reached a point where I didn't know how to continue because I realized, and it took me a month and maybe more to realize that I had written the climax of my story, and that was too early. And the characters were not together because when the climax happens and some changes are going to happen, the characters need to be together. And basically, the story collapsed there. This is the reason I am rereading my chapters because I have to find the point where the story starts going toward the climax and I have to change that. And because I am a discovery writer, I don't know how I am going to do that. Obviously, things are going to pop up in my head and I will just keep writing. But I have become a little better at having a direction. I think now I know how I want my characters to change in the end. So I know that my character's journey have to somehow take them to that place, to that change that I want to happen in the story so that my characters can be complete. They can have their character arc. Today and tomorrow I have a day off. Right now it's still 11 a.m. and I am planning on reading a lot my chapters and writing down notes, and I am happy about that. So, yeah, I hope these 2 days will be very productive for me. No, no hope. I plan. I am going to make these 2 days very productive for me. Yes. Okay, so these are writing updates. When it comes to life updates, I started a new job, and I mean, now it's been 1.5 months, and I really like this job. It's a kitchen job. It's a fast food restaurant, so the recipes are the same. I like this job. I don't have to talk to people because sometimes people can be very rude, and it's the worst thing when the customer is always right. No, they are not, but that's how it works, right? For business and for money. So it's nice to be in the kitchen and just prepare, and it's the same process. And I like this. I like the routine. And I like the people with whom I work. I am satisfied. There is one person that has a little strange character, but I am getting used to that. And if he talks to me in a way that I do not appreciate, I will tell him. I am the kind of person who always speaks when when something happens that I don't like. I don't have to keep a face or something. Like with my boss, I would say it differently if something negative happened. But if it's a coworker, I will tell him straight on that, why are you doing this? This is not right. So I've told him 3 times, and all 3 times he changed his behavior immediately. So that means that whether he understands he is wrong, what's important is that it stops so we can continue our shift with no problems. So these are the life updates. I'm looking forward to writing again because for a very long time now, one thing happened after another. I was questioning where I was going with my story. I reached the point that I had no idea what was wrong with it, but I couldn't continue. Then, after a long time, I realized I had reached the climax. I then decided to write. Uh, Actually, I didn't realize it was the climax yet. I first realized there was an unrealistic action from my characters 10 chapters prior, and then I tried to move the story from that point. I realized at some point that I was at the climax and I couldn't continue. Now I decided to change the point of view character in each chapter. Then I decided that I don't need to do that. I don't want to do that. And this, the way I have written my story so far, it's okay. The writing is good. The change in the point of view character happens naturally. It's okay. So now, oh man, I am rereading and taking notes. Whew, okay. And I feel like progress has not been made. And if you look at it with the word count, yes, it has not been made. But I have learned things along the way. I realized mistakes. I realized that I reached the climax. I had a new idea, then I realized why it was wrong. The story keeps moving forward, but in a mental way, I guess. I make mistakes and I correct them, and these are all parts of the process. That's my writing progress so far, and I will make another video when more writing progress has happened. Thank you for watching, and I will see you again in the next video. Bye bye.